Hey guys, film recaps here, and today we're covering a 2018 China fantasy horror film called Water Monster. The movie begins with a boy named Tui Sin hearing his name while he is on a boat with his father. His father suddenly calls for him and tells him to come to help him. He tells his father that he is afraid, and he tells his father of a scary myth of a monster in the water, but his father tells him not to worry about vain stories people say. His father hands him the net and jumps into the water, and a mysterious creature appears from afar. Tui Sin calls out for his dad but gets no response. His father comes out and tells him he caught nothing, and he tries to alert his father that there is something in the water. He sees some bubbles in the water and tells his father, who sticks a trident in the water and brings up a fish whose head has been chopped off. His father hears a sound and gets startled and tells Tui Sin to hold on tight. The disturbance becomes more evident, and his father looks around to see the source of the disturbance. Immediately the creature hits Tui Sin's father off the boat by hitting the bottom of the boat. Tui Sin tosses a rope to his father and helps him on the boat, but the monster uses the rope to drag the boat around, and later knocks both of them off the boat. Tui Sin's father tosses him into the boat, but gets caught by the mysterious monster and gets eliminated. His body later surfaces in the water. The creature appears with a scaly hand in the water, which startles him. In the next scene, Tui Sin, who is now older, wakes up from dreaming about the traumatic experience he had when his father died. Standing next to him is his best friend who had brought food to him. A boy named Luke Sin comes to taunt him and runs away. Nearby, the village head named Chief Dai Nyan congratulates a man named Dai Trang on his catch from fishing. An old man named Tam comes to tell him that the ancestors had said if they find such a fish, they are to not pick it up, but he doesn't listen. Tam speaks to the village chief about the renovation of the village church, and how it should be quickened. The old man tells a meat seller named Mak Nyat Dao not to overwork himself, but he doesn't listen and insults old Tam. Mak Nyat Dao tells Hong Lan, his daughter, to go tell Luke Sin, her younger brother, to stop running around. Close by, Dai Trang and Vytu argue due to their affection for Hong Lan. Hong Lan gets startled by Tui Sin while drying her clothes, and he gives her a gift which she likes, but she immediately returns it because of her father. Her father warns Tui Sin to not come near his daughter again and he leaves. Tui Sin runs into an old woman who tells him not to worry about Hong Lan, but to think of marrying another woman, but he says he is not interested. Tui Sin's best friend comes to meet him. Immediately a man comes running into the market to announce that someone has died in the river. After that, they all gather around the body whose head is missing, and Tam reminds them of a story 10 years ago of water monsters killing people. The village chief asks Tam what they can do, and Tam says that 10 years ago a princess named Hoang Ho did a sacrifice to chase away the monster, and it must be done again. Mak Nyat Dao doesn't believe Tam and tells them to sacrifice Tam if that is the case. Tui Sin runs away from the scene, and finds Luke Sin by the river trying to catch a duck and tells him to go home, but Luke Sin doesn't listen. A monster grabs the duck Luke Sin is trying to catch. Tui Sin goes to tell Hong Lan not to go do laundry by the water because it is dangerous. He tries to convince her to leave the village with him, but her father comes back and he runs away to hide. Her father comes to ask where her brother, Luke Sin, is and tells her to go find him. Hong Lan goes to find him in the forest. Meanwhile, Luke Sin chases a duck who is dragged into the water. He walks into the water searching for the duck with his hands but instead finds a tail. Far off, he sees something in the water. In the next scene, by evening, several people start looking for Luke Sin in the forest. Tui Sin finds his best friend staring into the water, and notices that he is staring at Luke Sin's body which had surfaced in the water. Tam comes to the scene, and reminds the village head of what he had said, and begins to cry. In the next scene, the villagers perform the tribute. Tui Sin and his best friend sit close by to watch the offering being made to the water monster. Suddenly, Mak Nyat Dao comes to scatter the offering and kicks the statue of the water monster, and curses the demon monster. Tam is furious and calls the men to drag Mak Nyat down, and offers prayers to the water monster to appease him. In the next scene, Tam speaks with the village chief on how they can't let Mak Nyat Dao continue to cause rebellion. Immediately they hear a sound and suspect it is Mak Nyat Dao. Meanwhile, the whole village gathers around Mak Nyat Dao who is causing explosions on top of the water to bring out the water monster. After that, Mak Nyat Dao is restrained. Hong Lan comes to bring food to her father, and the village chief tells her to advise her father to stop causing trouble. Tui Sin brings a drink for him to help cheer him up, and leaves. Tui Sin leaves to go home and remembers a childhood memory of the things he did with his father. After that, Tui Sin goes to meet Mak Nyat Dao and tells him to leave the water monster, but he calls him a coward for forgetting that it killed his father. Later that night, Mak Nyat Dao hears a noise of footsteps, and the water monster climbs into the building. The water monster calls out his name in a thin voice, and climbs on top of him, and kills him. In the next scene, Hong Lan comes to bring rice to her father but gets there to find him decapitated, and screams. After that, Tam tells the village chief that the sacrifice cannot be postponed anymore, and the people agree, but they all wonder who will be sacrificed. Tam suggests sacrificing Hong Lan, but Tui Sin refuses, and no one else accepts. Hong Lan comes and offers to be sacrificed, but Tui Sin refuses. Tui Sin tries to convince them not to sacrifice Hong Lan, but the men take him away. Tam tells them to take her to the firewood room and tells them the sacrifice will take place in 3 days. In the next scene, we see that Tui Sin and Hong Lan are locked up close to each other. Hong Lan tells Tui Sin about how she wants to marry a good man, and she knows he is good to her, but the water monster has changed everything. He tries to take her away, but she refuses, and the guards come to take him away. She tells him to leave, and forget her. After that, Tui Sin is seen remembering his past with Hong Lan and he decides to go hunting for the water monster. He builds several contraptions to go fight the water monster. Tui Sin's best friend is very excited to go with him, but Tui Sin says he must go find some of his brothers first. After that, they go to a house to meet 4 other men, with their leader named Bon Bon who takes them to a boat they can use to catch the monster. In the next scene, the people gather around the river to sacrifice Hong Lan who is taken into the river on a boat. Tui Sin and the rest of the men arrive at the scene, and he tells them he has come to save Hong Lan. He tells the people that the monster is not a god or a devil, but a cannibal monster and it must be killed. He tells the people that he has been cowardly for a long time, but he will not be cowardly anymore, and he charges the people to join him to fight the monster. Dai Trang and VVTU come to join him. In the next scene, they are all seen on the boat preparing to catch the water monster. They are all seen laughing when Hong Lan comes to join them. Later during the day, the men start to complain that they have been waiting all day and have found nothing, but Bon Bon tells them to wait. The chain they tossed into the water starts to move, and they drag it up but find nothing. One of the men jumps into the water to find the monster but gets dragged into the water and killed. The water monster also grabs another man, but Tui Sin throws a trident at him, but the monster waves it off and goes ahead to kill his captive. Tui Sin keeps throwing his trident at it, which makes it run. The monster tries to catch Hong Lan, but Tui Sin attacks it and it falls on the boat facing them all. They all throw their weapons at it, but it dodges it, and a great fight erupts. The water monster lunges at Tui Sin, but he tricks it and kicks it. They try to catch it in a net while it is disoriented, but it escapes. At night, Bon Bon and one other man decide to leave, but Tui Sin tells them it's not safe since the water monster already knows their identity. The other man accompanying Bon Bon decides to leave anyway and runs out. He hears some frightening noise and runs out regardless, but gets ambushed by the water monster, who kills him. After that, the water monster goes to meet the rest of the men but finds a decoy man made of hay there. They immediately lock the monster in and throw several weapons at it which it dodges. It tries to escape but gets injured by the men. It finds a way to escape all the weapons fired at it and is ambushed by the men, but still finds a way to throw them off balance. Tui Sin comes to fight it with an arrow and tricks the monster until they capture it in a cage prepared by Tui Sin. In the next scene, the village head and the villagers are seen observing the water monster that Tui Sin had brought to them. Some of them were unsure if this is the monster, but they assure them this is the monster, and Tui Sin assures them the village of Thuong Tui is safe. They all hail him for being their hero and shout that the monster becomes burnt to death. Tam comes to stop their chanting and tells them not to disrespect the monster, because it will kill them all. He tells Tui Sin not to assume he did a good thing because it will harm them all. The village chief orders that a party is thrown for the heroes. The village chief tells them to go rest, and that they will decide what to do with the monster in the morning. They all begin to feast. After that, Tui Sin and Hong Lan go to a secluded place to talk. Not far away, Dai Trang and Vytu cry because Hong Lan has already fallen in love with Tui Sin. In the next scene, Tam is seen kneeling in front of the caged monster. Tui Sin's best friend comes to make fun of the monster and leaves. Everyone in the village has gone back home to sleep and the village has become quiet. Meanwhile, Tui Sin and Hong Lan go to their house and kiss each other, while Tui Sin's best friend spies on them and listens to their conversation. After that, Tui Sin's best friend goes off happy with all that has happened. Tam wakes up and finds the cage empty because the water monster has broken it open. The water monster goes ahead to take his life. The village monster goes to attack the people but gets attacked by Tui Sin's best friend, who gets eliminated by the monster. In the next scene, the people are seen mourning their dead in the morning. Some of the people blame Tui Sin for what happened. The village chief tells the people that begging or sacrifice has been to no end, but all the people must unite to fight with the monster. In the next scene, Tui Sin is seen to have cut his hair in preparation to hunt the monster, and they all camp outside in preparation for the hunt. The village chief comes with some men who join them in their hunt. After that, Tui Sin is seen on a raft near the boat, waiting for the water monster. He jumps into the water and looks around for the monster. He sees the monster next to him, but the monster pushes him out of the water onto his raft. The men on the boat immediately draw the raft back to the boat, and the monster follows them back into the boat. The monster starts to attack the men. The monster jumps at Hong Lan, but Dai Trang jumps to save her. Tui Sin and the water monster begin to fight, and the monster weakens him. Dai Trang and Hong Lan successfully hold down the monster, and Tui Sin stabs it severally, but it pushes them away. The water monster stands up injured and goes to attack Hong Lan, who is laying on the ground close to Tui Sin but gets shot by Tui Sin with an arrow. Bon Bon and Dai Trang try to stop the monster, but it injures them. Hong Lan tries to stab the monster but gets knocked down. The monster kills VVTU, Bon Bon, and Dai Trang. Now, only Hong Lan and Tui Sin remain alive. The monster goes to attack Hong Lan, but Tui Sin stabs it. The monster and Tui Sin wrestle themselves into the water, and Tui Sin prevails and kills it. Tui Sin returns to the village with Hong Lan, and Tui Sin sees the faces of his friends and father who had lost their lives.